has this eye power that is given to them. So this eye power is given to every rightful heir who wants people from Khaenri'ah. Hello everyone, my name is Blue and welcome back to today's video. So, today's video is going to be about Genshin theories, which I'm sure you would have picked up from the snippets that I added to the beginning of my video just before my intro. So let's just get right on with it. Okay, so as I in the video previously, I just want to say again that I'm adding a disclaimer here that I'm going to be covering Khaenri'ah and Kaeya, and there are a lot of spoilers here. So if I were you, I'd only watch this video if you are past the Sumeru Archon quest and the Caribert Dainschlef quest. If you aren't, then I'd suggest maybe saving this video and coming back to it later, or if you're okay with getting spoiled, you're more than welcome to stay and watch. Okay, so first we're going to be talking about Khaenri'ah. So if you don't know what Khaenri'ah is, don't worry, I'm going to be filling you in. Now, I know a lot of people don't really read the Genshin Wikipedia or read up on lore and stuff, and I am guilty of that. I started my Genshin Impact game journey about 2 years ago, and I only now I'm starting to look at the lore. I never really thought of looking at the lore before, as well as reading the comic. Just if you guys didn't know, there is a Genshin comic. It is up on the official Genshin Impact website. I would check it out if I were you, because it covers a lot of what happened in. Well, right now, it's based on Mondstadt, so it's what happened in Mondstadt before the arrival of the Traveler completely. So I would check that out if you had the time. So, firstly, we're going to be talking about Khaenri'ah. So, if anyone doesn't know what Khaenri'ah is, I will be putting an image up, though it's probably going to be a very destroyed image because that's all we get of Khaenri'ah so far. So, Khaenri'ah, which is also known as the Kingdom of Khaenri'ah or known as Dehri, is a region that is not part of the continent of Teyvat, and it is not under the purview of any of the seven. It is a nation that is solely under the rule and the control of humans, with no god interference. Now that you know essentially what Khaenri'ah is, I will talk about how it ties into the lore of Genshin Impact and the story of Genshin Impact. So currently, we know that the Traveler and the Traveler's Abyssal Twin are both from Khaenri'ah, as well as Dainschlef being from Khaenri'ah, as well as Kaeya being from Khaenri'ah, and Hiero, the Fatui Harbinger Piero, also being from Khaenri'ah. So, 500 years prior to the events of the game, there was a major phenomenon. It was a huge phenomenon and it was known as the Cataclysm. So, during this time, monsters were created by Reindotir, also known as Gold. They poured out from Khaenri'ah to invade Teyvat, and Khaenri'ah was eventually destroyed by Celestia and the gods. All the pure-blooded Khaenri'ahs were cursed with immortality. Examples of this would be Dainschlef and Piero, and all of those who were not pure-blooded were turned into monsters. Example of this would be Caribert. And the reason he was not pure-blooded was because his dad was Khaenri'ah, but his mum was from Mondstadt. So Khaenri'ah actually began with a single bloodline, but was home to other bloodlines too. Despite its destruction and the transformation of many of its people into monsters, Khaenri'ah is still inhabited by humans to this day. Dainschlef describes it as one of the hidden corners where the god's gaze does not fall, and says that its people dream of dreaming, unlike the majority who are content to live but not to dream. According to Kaeya, it is said that Khaenri'ah is located somewhere underground, near Sumeru. The Khaenri'ah installation, known as Hange Afrasiab, I'm sorry if I butchered that pronunciation, guards a giant, tightly sealed stone gate beneath it that most likely leads to Khaenri'ah. On to the fact that these monsters that were created by Reindotir were the reason for the cataclysm. So in Khaenri'ah, the practice of the art of Chemia and the use of forbidden knowledge led to the kingdom of Khaenri'ah's ruin. Around 500 years ago, King Erman introduced forbidden knowledge to enhance the kingdom's technological advancement. Alchemist Reindotir also used it in her experiments to develop powerful creatures containing the power of the abyss, including Durin, Elenus, and the Rift Wolves. For some reason, these creatures began wreaking havoc throughout Khaenri'ah and spilled out to the rest of Teyvat. In response, the gods of Celestia, with the help of the Six of the Seven, launched an assault on Khaenri'ah. The skies turned red and filled with crimson cubes, possibly the work of the unknown god, and the landmass the kingdom was built on was torn to pieces, with lava flooding the shattered fragments of it. While the gods were victorious, at least two of the seven, the Hydro Archon Egeria and the Electro Archon Raiden Makoto, were killed. The Abyss Order originates from the destruction of Khaenri'ah by the gods. So what we know about the Abyss Order so far is that from the Caribert story quest we find out that the Khaenri'ahs who were not pure-blooded were turned into Hilichurls. There were already Hilichurls, but starting from Caribert, Clothar Alberic started the Abyss Order. The Abyss Order originates from the destruction of Khaenri'ah by the gods. It seeks to destroy the countries under the protection of the Seven in revenge. The people of Khaenri'ah turned into the monsters of the Abyss. Thus it is thought that Abyss Mages, Abyss Heralds, and Abyss Lectors were once people from Khaenri'ah, possibly its aristocracy and the knights defending peace. Now that I've talked a lot more about Khaenri'ah, I'm going to be talking about how Kaeya ties into the story. So, we know right now that Kaeya is an heir to the throne of Khaenri'ah, and this has been confirmed because the Alberics are not royalty. So he is not a prince of Khaenri'ah, but his clan stepped in to serve in the place of Khaenri'ah royalty when King Ermin was no longer able to do so. So Kaeya, being an heir to the throne of Khaenri'ah, is basically confirmed. Kaeya is from a family of regents to the one-eyed King Ermin. This aligns to Mona saying that he's destined for greatness and grandeur. If the Abyss sibling succeeds at restoring Khaenri'ah, Kaeya would be its rightful ruler. This hopefully foreshadows a lot more quests with Kaeya, is what I'm hoping for. So, we all know that Kaeya wears an eye patch on his right eye, right? Another thing that has been emphasized a lot throughout anything to do with Khaenri'ah, basically, is Khaenri'ah and the eye motif. So there's a lot to do with Khaenri'ah and eye. Not eyes, one singular eye. Usually, one singular eye usually represents almost the eye of God or the truth. So this could emphasize how Khaenri'ah is showing that it's kind of showing how Khaenri'ah doesn't need the eye of God or has never had the eye of God because it is the truth itself without the need of a God. Examples of the eye motif that's been shown throughout Khaenri'ah is that any person who has been from Khaenri'ah have always had star-shaped pupils. Examples of this would be Deinschlef has star-shaped pupils, Kaeya has star-shaped, Piero, the Fatui Harbinger, has star-shaped pupils, and Clothar Alberic has star-shaped pupils. Another is covering the right eye, whether by an eye patch or a mask. That is for Deinschlef, Kaeya, and Piero so far. Ruin gods. Ruin gods have a very specific star shape on their eye, and we are told that these are from Khaenri'ah. The statuettes that are dropped by Abyss Heralds, the Abyss Lectors, and the Shadowy Husks. The statuettes that are dropped always have their left eye missing and only their right eye there, which shows some sort of importance to the right eye as it draws your attention to that right eye. Now, King Ermin is the god of war and death. He is also known as the one-eyed All-Father, as he sacrificed his eye in order to see everything that happens in the world. We also find out through Kaeya himself that his right eye, under his eye patch, is not actually blinded, but is just scarred. Kaeya also pretended to be a pirate as a child, which implies that he has had his eye patch since he was a child. so he's known since he was a child to cover his right eye. Khaenri'ahs covering their right eye could be a form of respect for the one-eyed King Ermin. That would make sense for Kaeya, Dainsleif, but I think it might imply that there's more to Kaeya's eye. It did not mean to make that rhyme, because you know someone else who covers the right side of their face and their right eye, Piero, but he would not be covering his face in respect towards King Ermin because he held resentment to the final rulers. This is because despite being a royal mage himself, when Khaenri'ah still existed, he failed to gain favor with Khaenri'ah's ruler, which is likely King Ermin, due to being less capable than the country's sages, and he could not stop them from doing something that tore away the veil of sin. Even though he holds resentment to the final rulers of Khaenri'ah, he still keeps his right eye covered. This could mean maybe being one-eyed is not exclusive to one person, but perhaps the new heir. This is where Kaeya comes in. Is it really a coincidence that in the fight between Kaeya and Diluc, that it's Kaeya's right eye that Diluc scars? Because if you think about it, when everything happened, Kaeya reveals the truth to Diluc behind his root and the real reason behind his eye patch, and Diluc retaliates to him telling him this by trying to destroy the very thing that he just revealed. Isn't that a bit too much of a coincidence? Next, Kaeya said that he wears an eye patch due to his scarring, but as a cavalry captain and a knight, scarring isn't enough of a reason to obstruct half of your vision. Another thing that I want to highlight is if Kaeya really wanted to show respect to his roots, he could just wear a mask. But why does he cover his eye with something that wouldn't draw any attention? Everyone who's been from Khaenri'ah so far has worn a mask to show their respect. And the mask has had some form of blue lines to it or some sort of blue to it. And I'm pretty sure that this could show that this is a link to the fact that this ancient power that was in Khaenri'ah that we are unaware of as of this moment is something blue. And the reason we know this is because Dainsleif uses his power in one of his quests. So when he tries to run through the portal that the Abyss sibling and the Abyssal, I don't remember if it was a Herald or a Lector, but I'm pretty sure it was Abyss Herald, that the Abyss Herald made. And he ran through it really, really fast. And his mask, the veins lit up and they were blue. So I'm pretty sure the blue has to do with some sort of hidden power that's in Khaenri'ah that we are unaware of. Kaeya's name card describes his constellation to have eyes that never shut, and his constellation, I apologize if I butcher this, but Pavo Ocellus, directly translates to peacock eye. Notice how the eye is singular. What if this means that Kaeya can see into the abyss? Having eyes that never shut, the abyss never stops. The abyss is never closed. The abyss is always open. This also links in to when the fact about the actual King Ermin in history, who is also known as King Odin, who was the god of war and said that he sacrificed one of his eyes in order to see everything that happens in the world. What if Kaeya sacrificed one of his eyes in order to be able to see everything that happens in the abyss? Now, another thing about the deathly statuette, when you read the description under the deathly statuettes, it says, "The eternal peace of pitch dark void shall embrace us all." The pitch dark void is probably the abyss, and it is described to be eternal peace. Lastly, maybe this eye power that Kaeya has, maybe it's something. Maybe rather than Kaeya sacrificing one of his eyes, maybe King Ermin sacrificed one of his eyes. And because of that action that King Ermin did, every rightful heir after King Ermin has this eye power that is given to them. So this eye power is given to every rightful heir of Khaenri'ah's throne. That could also be why Kaeya, instead of some other Alberich clan adult, is the last hope. He is the last person to have gained the power that was lost with the royal family. What if this eye power is something that leads to the destruction of the abyss? What if the power that he was gifted with will be the one thing that destroys the abyss? What if at the end of the Genshin Impact story, the person who will destroy the abyss will be none other than Kaeya himself? Thank you for watching today's video if you made it this far. I really dug deep with Kaeya and Khaenri'ah in this video and tried to tie all of these knots together in a sense to try to come up with a theory that I think is true. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video if you liked it, and let me know if there's anything else you want me to cover in the future. I have covered a bunch of things in the past, and if you want me to cover more Genshin theories, I will definitely be making more videos of Genshin theories that I think may or may not be true, because it's really interesting when you start looking into the lore. There's a lot of hidden stuff that we don't actually know about until you dig deep into the lore and try to find it out for yourself. I also am going to make another video covering the letter that was in the event of Kaeya'S that was written to him, and I will cover that at a later date. Thank you for watching. If there's anything else you'd like me to cover, just let me know in the comments, and thank you for your time.